Hey everybody, what an update this has been. Tesla keeps throwing roller coasters at me. Just a few quick things before we get going because there's not going to be time to talk during the drive with everything that's going to be going on. For those who are new, if you choose to skip ahead, don't miss our comprehensive analysis at the end of the video, which shows all of the issues that we encountered and comparisons to the previous build to see what improved and what regressed. So first off, waypoints are finally here! Rejoice! For some of us, except not for those of us in the FSD Beta who most need it. What a troll. Hopefully we'll get it soon, but as you can see in these images, there's just a little plus icon in the navigate bar now that you can use to add another destination, and you can also do that from a pin location on the map. Unfortunately, you can't really rearrange the order or get rid of any. You have to get the whole set correct or start over. And if you want to see more about that, there's an article and video linked in the description. Second is that beta testers have to re-agree to the terms because they have changed, so we have to re-enable full self-driving and then read through the new and updated terms, which basically just added consent for using the cabin camera to monitor you, and to throw salt on the wound of disabling my FSD for using my phone as a camera in 10.4. They also added this warning about 3 strikes and you're out. I don't know if that's still counting previous disengagements, but we should be able to avoid them in the future since it warns you multiple times before actually disengaging. Fool me once, Tesla. Then, of course, we have the 10.5 release notes. So first up, it should be 20% better at determining the speed of vulnerable road users. It should be 13% better at detecting static objects, a little bit better at detecting and remembering cones and signs, a bit less phantom braking for people cutting into the lane, learning more from the human driver about collision avoidance, more likely to change out of the lane that others are merging into. Honestly, not sure what this one means, but I think it means it will remember where lanes end in forced merges so that it'll get over sooner, which would be very nice. This one basically just means it's going to be smarter about how it merges. It'll be better about slowing down when it needs to in order to lane change. Also, fun note, a lot of people think that Elon and Tesla are dropping hints about some event on December 9th, and as you'll notice, this 9th bullet point is missing. They do like to be mysterious. This one seems to be saying it will move to the left or right when it's creeping forward in order to get better view, better at predicting road edges on extreme curves, and somehow smarter navigation. Now let's go see how they play out. This is going to be both our first daytime and our first real traffic situation in our test route in Olympia, so expect to see a lot of new problems. So stopping too far back at the stop sign as always. That's not fixed in 10.5. But one thing that is already fixed is that we are not off the map, as you can see on the screen. Our little car is actually on the road, which is nice. Which will hopefully mean we don't get any emergency disengagements here either. We'll see how it does with the curbs here. Usually gets a little too close for my comfort on this turn and the next. And actually, no. It did perfectly fine on that one. This one, a little bit close, but it is better. Wow, okay. That's the first time we've actually seen improvement on these. On pretty much any curbs in general, as far as I can remember. Taking a left here, it's totally clear to both sides. And we're going. Excellent. No unnecessary creeping on that turn, which has been a problem with 10.4. Unprotected left here. All clear. Takes it just fine. So unfortunately over here we have lost our construction area. Yeah, it's slowing down for that truck even though they're waiting for us. So that is a problem. And we're slowing down for this guy. So we definitely still have the issue of Navigate to Elma Mark II. We definitely still have the issue that it's, oh god. Navigate to Elma Mark II. Still have the issue that it's getting spooked by traffic on the oncoming lane on these unlined roads. So, that's unfortunate. So it is still shifting to the left in the lane for that parking area over there, which is a problem that got fixed in 10.3 and then came back in 10.4, and apparently it's still doing it in 10.5. So I've changed our route a little so that when we pull out onto this main road, it will be in a harder spot with lower visibility. Because we're not looking for an easy zero disengagement drive here, we're looking for problems. So it is clear to both sides, the car can see to both sides, it should be going, but it's still creeping. Alright, so still problems with unnecessary creeping, that's unfortunate, but what you gonna do? Better to have problems with unnecessary creeping than with pulling out when it shouldn't. We will, okay, so we need to go here and it's hesitating. There's cars coming on both sides and we had plenty of room, but if we had waited much longer, we would have missed it. So I had to press the accelerator there. Taking a right. Definitely didn't hesitate on that one. We did have plenty of visibility. Navigate to Olympia Mark I. So there's going to be parked cars to both sides over here usually. We'll see, yeah, so we got parked cars blocking our vision to the left. And kind of to the right, we can mostly see to the right. So it looks clear to both sides as far as I can see now. Now we can see far enough to be safe and we should go. And I had to press the accelerator a little bit there. It did start going and it was a good time to go, but a car was coming at us. So we needed to go a little bit faster than it was accelerating. Taking a right here. Going a little slower than necessary. But still a slight improvement. Last time it slowed all the way down to 4 miles an hour. This time it only went to 9 miles an hour. Alright, so here is where the turn lane opens right now. It should be shifting to the left now. So definitely still some hesitation there. In 10.4, it stopped in the middle of this turn on our second drive. Didn't do that this time, that's good. And we should be accelerating, we're on the on-ramp. We're at 23 miles an hour and we're not speeding up, we're actually slowing down. So I'm holding the accelerator here. And now it's speeding up. So that's actually a new problem. It's never had problems accelerating on the on-ramp. And we're like really waiting until the last minute to merge. That's actually a little bit worse than before, but same problem essentially. So we'll see if it puts us in the left lane. 10.4 wanted to put us in the fast lane and keep us there, even if we were on 60. Yes, unfortunately, it is still doing it, and it may be the most infuriating thing that has changed about FSD, because it just sits there in the left lane, flipping the bird to everybody who wants to go faster. They have to either go around me or I have to change lanes to the right, and then as soon as I'm in the right lane, it wants to change lanes back into the left lane. Even if there's somebody in the left lane about to pass, it still puts the blinker on, and then I have to turn it off over and over and over, and I eventually just disengage because it's so annoying. And yes, it's still only a moderate issue because it doesn't keep us from getting to our destination, and it's not unsafe. But my god, I hope they fix this in the next update. And no, we are not on the aggressive profile. That is not the reason this is happening. We are on average. Yeah, so that issue with the warning about FSD being degraded, bad news is that's still happening. Worse news is it's actually gotten worse, and now it has actually deactivated full self-driving at least once in my highway drive. It was only about like 30 seconds, and then it came back. But that never happened in 10.4. It just kept giving me the warning over and over, which it did give me the warning multiple times before deactivating FSD in 10.5. And the hits keep on coming. Yes, it does get even worse with 10.5 because now it will not engage FSD in the rain. Even off of the highway in the city, I cannot use FSD Beta when it is raining. Let me repeat, I live in Washington. If you look out the window at any given moment, there's like a 50-50 chance it will be raining. So this has practically just revoked my FSD Beta access, and it makes no sense whatsoever to me. Number one, I have not noticed any performance difference between daytime and nighttime, rain and perfect weather, so what is the point of this? Number two, even if it were performing worse at night or in the rain, what is the point of shutting it off during beta? Beta exists to improve on issues like this so that it will not have those issues in the full release, where it will most definitely need to drive at night and in the rain if they intend for this to enable robotaxis. So I do not see how this is anything other than counterproductive and infuriating. In a single update, it's gone from operating in any conditions to basically almost never operating for me, which I have to say is overshadowing the improvements in this update. Elon, WTF, mate. Alright, so we're going to need to get over to the right pretty soon here, even though there's a bunch of merging traffic. And we're getting into a gap. Excellent. That's perfectly done. I mean, we kind of got lucky. Here's our exit here. Slowing down already. It's kind of weird that it slows down 5 miles an hour right as we exit and then kind of coasts on that for a while. So we're taking an unprotected left up here. We do have someone behind us, so we can't be lollygagging much. There's a truck parked to the side over here. And it says it's creeping. And it's going. Okay. So that was a little bit slow. I'm sure the person behind us was a little annoyed. But it freaking did it. I mean, like, up until one time on one of our drives on 10.4 was the only time that it's actually successfully made that turn. And it made it this time on 10.5. Oh my god, look at that. Every freaking update, it has tried to swerve into that turn lane as we were going by, and it did not even hesitate this time. Freaking hallelujah. It's completely fixed, at least on that one, as far as we saw. Wow. That went from like really bad, where it was trying to fully turn into the turn lane in the previous episode, to like perfect. Not even a flicker of the steering wheel. That is awesome. And of course we're getting passed by people here, even though we're doing 5 miles an hour over the speed limit, because nobody seems to know or care what the speed limit is here. Human drivers, what are you going to do? So this bug just lane changed in front of us, and as you can see, the car did not slow down or have any sort of problem with it. I don't know if it would have had a problem with it before, but improvement with cut-ins was one of the things listed in the update notes. So coming up here, our lane is going to end, so we have to lane change to the right. And as you can see, there's traffic coming in from the right side as well, so it's possible to get kind of boxed out, but right now there's no real traffic. As you can see, it's still, as usual, waiting until it is forced to merge. Does not merge early as a human would do. So we still got that problem. Okay, so we got somebody pulling in front of us here, no problem. We need to get into the turn lane here to turn left. And holy crap, it's getting right into it. Wow. So every previous update, okay, we got a little close to that curve there, but every previous update, it had trouble getting into that turn lane or did not do it at all. Only one time in our second drive on 10.4, that was the only time that it successfully got into that turn lane, and that was at the very last second. Like, it was indecisive, it was going back and forth, and then it got into it at the last second. This time, no hesitation, got right in as soon as the lane was... Navigate to Olympia, mark 1.5. Okay, so on the nav it has us turning left here, and in previous update it did have trouble with that. It wanted to, like, the navigation had us turning left, but the path planner had us going straight, and then right as we were passing the turn, it changed the path planner to go left, which made for a very abrupt turn. And this time, no problem whatsoever. We've got a car coming from the right, but there is time to go, but okay, we're stopping. So a human would have gone there, but it's not really a big deal. Could be on busier streets. But yeah, that turn back there was great. Waiting for this guy was fine. And it looks like we're taking a different path from previous updates, which would go back to where we turned into this neighborhood, which is kind of the main point that I had us turning into this neighborhood, was to do an unprotected left back out onto that main road. But maybe I'll change that for next time, but for this time, we're going to do an unprotected left onto this other main road, so it's all clear. I can see to both sides. We got a motorcyclist coming, but the car decided there was time, and there was. It was a little close, but yeah, good job there. And we'll see how it does with a protected left, I guess. Okay, so it's green, and we need to yield to these people going straight, which we are doing. That's good. We should be going now. We should be going. We should be going. We are stopping. Okay, so that was not good. It was waiting until the people turning left were out of the intersection, which is obviously not necessary. So, I mean, we haven't done a daytime drive on this test route before with traffic. We expected some traffic issues. I wasn't actually expecting that issue, and I'm a little disappointed by it, because that's kind of it's something I would have expected us to have mastered by now. So we're coming up on this garden center. It's not on the map. It does not know how to find it, so I have to do the turn here. Looks like the gate is open today. Normally, we get to see the fence is closed and the path planner stops at the fence. So it's kind of an example of how it can see things that are not necessarily modeled on the screen. Navigate to Olympia Mark II. Okay, so there we go, and we're doing an unprotected left, and it needs to not do that. Holy crap, it did not creep at all. So as you can see, there's bushes in the way here. It needs to creep to like right at the edge of the road here is where I would say it is safe for me to see. And then it's going to need to go a little further than that. So we're like right at the edge of the road. And it did not do that, it just kind of went without any hesitation. So that was really dangerous. So we will try again. This time there's cars directly in front of us. So it is being more cautious. There's a car coming. And now it's clear to go. And it's turning right. So this is an issue that was in 10.3, and then it's supposed to turn left there instead of turned right. And then in 10.3, it took the next left after turning right. In this time it missed it. So it looks like now we're going back through this neighborhood. And I'm just going to take over here because it wanted to go like all the way back around through that light, that earlier light, and then back through this neighborhood. I'm just going to turn us around in here. Oh, actually. So now it wants to go left. That's fine. So yeah, it definitely did a better job creeping that time, but it seemed like it was only because it was forced to creep, because there were actually cars in front of us in the road. But that first time, it did not look for traffic at all. It just ran right out into the road. And we were just lucky that nobody was coming at the time. But like where I stopped it, we were already like had our nose in the road, and I had to back up because there was somebody coming. Those were good turns, by the way. Okay, so it should be able to see it's clear now. Should be going. I'm pressing the accelerator because there's somebody coming. And it looked like it was going to wait for them. So we are very slowly coming to a stop here. It's all clear. It can see that it's all clear. It should be going. I'm pressing the accelerator. Great turns though, and that one was fantastic as well. We haven't seen any corner cutting, which is something that was happening a lot in 10.4. So now we get to see our unprotected left onto the main road. Hopefully this one will be a left. So we got lots of traffic coming. We're not going anywhere anytime soon. We do have clear visibility to both sides. Okay, so we got a break coming up on the left. There's one more car after this, and then we may be able to go. But it's a pretty tight gap now. Yeah, too late to go now. It's a whole nother line of traffic coming from both directions. Okay, so we got a big break coming up on the left, and it looks clear to the right. It should go right now, right now, right now. Really need to go. There's a car coming up on the left. Okay, so it did go. It needed a really big gap though, because the problem there was it waited until there was a big enough gap, and then it started to creep forward, and there was no need to creep. Like, we had clear visibility, as you saw, to both sides the entire time. It just needed to commit immediately. So I'm going to say that was not great, but it did do it. And we're going to be taking a left here, so that it is correct to get into the turn lane. So we're going to need to yield to these people who are going straight, and there's quite a few of them coming up. So this might be one of those situations where a human would inch into the intersection so they don't miss the light. But wasn't necessary here, and it handled it just fine. So that was a good turn, and here we go to right, and that's a good turn as well. Navigate to Olympia Mark 2.5. So on 10.3 it stopped on this turn. 10.4 took it really slowly, and actually 10.5 did it just fine. Like maybe a tad bit slower than a human would, but I'm totally okay with that. 10.4 cut this corner. 10.5 did it perfectly. Like, wow, holy crap. Yes, Elon, 10.5. Thank you, Tesla team. This is so much better. Okay, so it's stopping for these. Quick instant replay. So if you look at the screen here, I assumed that it had the facing of the pedestrians wrong and thought they were coming out into the road, but it actually completely misplaced them as already being in the road. And then it portrayed that little girl as a car, which just seems rude. So that's why it stopped. Misplacing objects could obviously be a pretty big issue, potentially. Not looking at all like they were going to come out in the road. So it still has trouble determining the intent of pedestrians. And on 10.4 it got too close to parked cars here. 10.5, no problem. I'm comfortable with that difference, or distance. Wow. Yeah, this is awesome. This is like as big as of an improvement as 10.3 was for me. So again, I'm pressing the accelerator now because it's yielding for traffic that's turning left. But it turned perfectly into this lane, and on 10.3 and a bit on 10. I don't remember on 10.4, but on 10.3 for certain, it was on those left turns, on those protected left turns, it was straddling, like pulling out right onto the white line and straddling both lanes because it couldn't decide whether to go into the left lane or the right lane. And we didn't have even a hint of that this time. So we need to get in the left turn lane, which it did. Maybe a tad bit late, but it's fine.